And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that lovely Brutal OST as we have returned with our second half of the broadcast. We just wrapped up with some mirror matchups. We wrapped up with Solar versus Trigger, which wasn't quite a mirror matchup. Wrapped up with Scarlet versus Solar, which went to the ace match alongside Gumiho versus HeRoMaRinE. And now we have the rest of our TvTs. Again, this is a round robin group, so all the players will play off against each other. We have Spirit, who we have yet to feature. And up next, Spirit versus HeRoMaRinE. A bit of a EU versus EU matchup. Some of the best Terran players that Europe has to offer. Alongside Clem, Spirit, and HeRoMaRinE do make up the trifecta, the top three of Terrans in Europe. And two of them will be facing off here and now in this group. Here we go. Of course, we have our first game. Game 1 going to be taking place on Oceanborn. Go. Also, as you can imagine, after this, we'd have another TvT lined up. It would be Gumiho versus Spirit, just to really wind up or round off the non-stop TvT action that we have tonight. And here we go in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn. We have our blue Terran player from the land of Germany, representing Team Mouse. It is HeRoMaRinE. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Terran player from the land of Poland, representing his new team, Na'Vi. It is Spirit. Here we go. Again, Spirit and Gabe have a bit of a history with each other. They have gone back and forth over the past year of StarCraft. And which way will it go this time? I'm curious about. Again, we have seen a certain style so far. It is going to be a double gas opener out of Spirit. We are having a single gas opener out of HeRoMaRinE. Interesting. Okay, so if you were here earlier, you would have remembered, you would have seen Big Gabe versus Gumiho, where Gabe had gone for a double gas opener every game. He went double gas every game against Gumiho, and he went for very fast tank production. Went single cyclone into tech lab into tank every single game against Gumiho, and as a result, in the mid game, Gabe was able to maintain a tank lead and maintain an army lead throughout the entire series against Gumiho. Here, though, we have something very different. It is a more economic opener out of Gabe. It is a Rax expand here, CC on the low ground. Spirit instead is going to be the aggressor. Okay. Factory on the way already here for Spirits. Meanwhile, Command Center actually on the high ground for HeRoMaRinE, so a bit of a safer opener. It is economic still, that is true, but with that CC on the high ground, it is going to be safe against any Reaper harass or Hellion harass. Does mean that the CC is going to be a little bit more delayed from Gabe, but safe nonetheless. Will be safe on the high ground. Meanwhile, across the map, Spirit focusing on his factory. There will not be an add-on swap. The building placements are a little bit too far apart for anything like that. And Spirit gets his CC on location. Far later than HeRoMaRiNE's, of course. But on the way, and we are going for an add-on swap. Interesting, okay. We're floating on over for the add-on swap, going for reactor to cyclone production. Did make our first Reaper. Cyclones are on the way as we speak. Meanwhile, Gabe going for a 1-1-1 follow-up. Interesting. Now with this, we can go into fast Raven production, a fast drop, which is most likely what's going to be upon us for a fast medevac. As we do open up Hellion into Widowmine. Okay. Hellion is moving out for a scout, trying to get a read on what's going on. Spirit is continuing Cyclone production, as I would imagine in a more modern TvT. Cyclones are amassing. We do catch out that Hellion. We do reveal only one Cyclone, and we do not shut it down. Hellion does manage to escape. Meanwhile, here comes that drop play we were referring to. How many Widowmines? One Widowmine. One Widowmine here on the low ground. Hellion, a couple of Reapers, a couple of Marines. And once again, we get that tech lab on the factory going straight into tanks. Okay. So again, a similar outlook as to what we've been seeing against Gumiho, where HeRoMaRinE, he just is trying to get into tanks as quickly as possible. Gabe is avoiding the Cyclone v Cyclone. I don't blame him. Don't blame him at all. Like, Cyclone versus Cyclone, it's... yeah. I mean, it's modern TV. It's not amazing. It's not amazing. But the Cyclones have arrived, and there's a reason why we do make Cyclones, because there is nothing at home to defend. Spirit, he rocks up, SCVs are exposed, and Workers are going to be going down. HeRoMaRinE out of position, and going for the drop across the map. He has to get damage done. We get into the main. The tank is exposed. The boys are being called. We avoid the tank, and we camp the production. We camp the mineral line in the main base. Meanwhile, across the map, the drop does get in. What do we have at home to defend? SCV is also going to be going down. Meanwhile, that's going to be 12 dead Workers. Meanwhile, here in the main base, we have a Raven, we have a Cyclones. The Water Mine will not go off. Spirit does defend, and he gets 15 SCVs across the map. Gabe trying to be fancy, trying to be cheeky with his drop play, but alas, he pays a massive price for it. He does hold with that tank in the main base, but at what cost? At what cost? We have a second tank on the way, sorry, a third tank on the way. Drop in the natural gets deflected. Spirit does hold, and Spirit has a massive lead. The power of the Cyclone. I mean, it's not just that. It's also unfortunate that HeRoMaRinE didn't know that Spirit was massing Cyclones. Remember, initially Spirit hid his Cyclones. He only revealed one. He hid the rest, and that meant that Gabe thought he was safe to go for the drop when he did, when really he was anything but. And Spirit took advantage of him. And now Gabe is in a rough position. He tries to go for a drop towards the natural. Spirit is in position. Behind this third CC on the way, just capitalizing on our advantage here. Getting further ahead. Aye, aye, aye. And how do we come back from this position? Well, HeRoMaRinE, there is a lot of potential, of course, with his faster tank production. HeRoMaRinE, he's got 3 tanks to the 0 of Spirit. The downside here, like, yes, we have a lot of tanks and we can try to make use of that. Well, Spirit will soon have a lot of Ravens with Interference Matrix. You can have a tank lead, doesn't matter. Not when we have this amount of Ravens. Not without air control. Here we go, HeRoMaRinE is pushing. He's going to be reinforcing behind this. Does bleed out a couple of Marines. But it's going to be 4 tanks here for Gabe. Does push forward. And then a couple of hits in. Spirit doing a great job at slowing down the army, picking away at a Marine here or there. So he does amass his own force. Disables are available for both players. Spirit does have the Raven lead. And he's waiting for the siege. Gabe actually going straight for the main. Oh, calm down, Bobby. Calm down. Just the rest of him is dropping to the main. Marines are going to be unloaded. Tanks are sieged. There's going to be 5 tanks outside the main base. A very hefty tank count. And can Spirit deal with this? Can he break his position? Oh, he thinks about it. There we go. Liberators have arrived. They do siege up. The freedom is here. The liberation has arrived. Marines, they try to deal with the libs. But alas, they will be shut down. A big pick up there by Spirit. And the Liberators, they reign supreme. Gabe has to back off. There's no pushing in. Not anymore. Spirit just out-teching Gabe. It's just too much freedom. Gabe has to back up. Behind this, getting into his own double E-Bays. Getting into his own third CC. Spirit should soon be landing his own in. There we go, it is on the way. And just like that, Spirit still maintains his 10 worker lead. Still maintains his economy. And the one thing that Gabe had was his tank counts, but that is soon going to be swinging in favor of Spirit here. He is slowly catching up. Creeping up on Gabe. Water turrets are thrown down. SCVs are going down. Ooh, that's a lot of SCVs as we just keep on chasing. Oh my, we don't stop. We can't stop, we won't stop. As we'll be losing one of the Ravens. Not even. As Gabe, he does come in to intercept. Does try to at least. Oh, we get one. Does get one. Does get barely 2 Ravens. Very nice pickoffs. But still loses 13 SCVs, and he'll lose even more in the main. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 21 SCVs go down. Gabe, he already had a crippled economy, and now his economy even more in shambles. Spirit just chilling back at home. 4th CC on the way. I would love a second factory, just to try to catch up. I imagine second factory is going to be on the horizon momentarily. So we're getting to Viking production. Looking at a Unisab here. Yeah, Spirit does have the Viking lead. He's down 2 tanks compared to his opponent. Is down 2 tanks, and instead of going for a second factory, he's going for a second starport. I mean, that makes plenty of sense. Second starport to double down on Vikings, eventually getting into more Liberator production as well. Again, TvT, it is for a time about tank v tank, but then it's about the air control. Viking versus Viking. Whoever controls the air does control the ground. Spirit is pushing. I say pushing. Situating himself to establish his 4th. Drops him moving out. Spirit does come across them. And the game is going to be settling for a moment, but Spirit, he's about to max. It's on the cusp. He's got 2-2, he's got +1 vehicle weapons. Oh, armory just begins for Gabe. Again, because of the crippled economy, he's just that much far behind. Or that much more behind. Working towards the armory, towards +2. Big anti-armor missile, and we just commit. We focus down the tank before backing up. Spirit, he does pull back for a moment. Does see how exposed their tanks are. So tempting. He wants them. Those tanks looking so tempting here for Spirit. Does rotate with his tanks. He is able to keep up. Viking going to be crashing. Some nice disables here on Spirit's tanks. Too bad. HeRoMaRinE coming out on top here in the Viking battle as well. I do love that he's just again flexing his tank count overall, his tank lead. Forcing his way into the 4th base of Spirit. Give us 5 more seconds and Spirit is going to kick in with +2. Yeah, especially with the repairs, the Vikings, they come out on top. HeRoMaRinE losing every single Viking. And where are the libs? Lib range, and there we go, the Liberators, they are soon to arrive. And with the death of all those Vikings, how do we deal with the Liberators? We don't. Okay, being forced back. Oh. Does get a tank. Trading 1 for 1. HeRoMaRinE rotating around, out positioning Spirit. I mean, doing the most with what he has. Spirit a little bit late to rotate over. Spirit base is going to be delayed. Brenda goes down. And pretty good pickoffs before it's cancelable. Like, I'm really impressed with what Gabe has been able to do with how little he has. He's hanging in there. He's trying to. Oh no. But alas, we don't have enough to defend back at home. SCV is going to be going down. GG gets called, and it's just too much to overcome. Spirits will take game number 1. GG. GG, well played. Again, Gabe, he was just at a deficit for almost the entire game. Essentially from the initial Cyclone drop. Remember, the Cyclone drop dealt so much damage. And the follow-up as well, 21 dead workers in favor of Spirit. It was insane how much damage he dealt. And despite Gabe outpositioning Spirit at times and, you know, doing the most with his army, trading as efficiently as possible, it still wasn't enough to overcome how far behind he was. GG, well played. Spirit does take a lead in the series. Now we're getting ready for game number 2. Here we go. Game 2 going to be on Hecate. And spawning in the top right hand corner of Hecate, we have our blue Terran player from the land of Germany representing Team Mouse. It is HeRoMaRinE. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the red Terran player from the land of Poland representing Team Na'Vi. It is Spirit. Leading the series 1-0. But again, that last game was a solid game from Spirit, yes, but also a little bit concerning because Spirit did take a massive lead, that is true. But when it came to the mid game, when it came to the positioning, with the army movement as well, I would give the edge to Gabe. Again, I was really impressed by how much he was able to do despite being far behind, despite having a worse economy and a smaller army as well. Of course, he was being out-teched, and the Liberators were just really a thorn on his side time and time again. But if we do have a much more stable opener, if we have a much more stable start to the game and a solid mid-game and even mid-game, then Spirit does need to pick things up when it comes to his overall army movement and army control. Movement specifically. But we'll see. We shall see. As for the time being, we have a bit of a role reversal. Okay. HeRoMaRinE going double gas, Spirit going for a Rax expand. Remember, last game, Gabe was the economic player and Spirit was the aggressor. This time, the roles have been reversed. Spirit going for a faster CC, Gabe going for a faster factory. Show us the Cyclones. I'm ready for it, Bobby. I'm ready for it. Let's go. As for now, factory is on the way. You'll see Gabe just scouting, checking for proxies, making sure nothing is going to catch him off guard. You will scout these fringe bases. Make sure that nothing is on the way. With this, he does make a second Reaper. Interesting. So we're not going for a fast add-on swap. If you remember last game, Spirit went for a single Reaper into a reactor, into reactored Cyclone production. Here, that is not the case, as we're going straight for a 1-1-1. Okay. Now, I believe this is going to be leading into a double Cyclone drop. I believe by the time the medevac does finish, we should have a second Cyclone. There's a reactor on the way, not a tech lab. Meanwhile, Reapers, they do get across the map. CC gonna be delayed. It is gonna be delayed here as Gabe will be losing both of his Reapers. Not the best trade there from our blue Terran player. Does get a worker, but does pay quite a price for it. Meanwhile, there's that medevac, again, lined up here with the second Cyclone. Should be seeing a drop across the map. Likewise, back at home, Spirit going for a tech lab on the factory. Okay, he's going to be disrupting his own cyclone production. A very fast 3rd CC here out of Spirit. Oh my god. Talk about greed. I mean, again, Spirit, he's known for being a little bit greedy. He's known for cutting corners. A risky move. Going for a gigafast 3rd. Meanwhile, HeRoMaRinE pushing on the right-hand side. Going for a drop towards that natural base. Spirit does miss it. Gonna have to react. How many SCVs can we get? We get 1, we get 2. We get 2 workers, we almost get a 3rd. And more importantly, we do scout. We get eyes on the 3rd CC as well. HeRoMaRinE not fully aware of how greedy his opponent is being, and he can take a fight. Takes down a Hellion, takes down another SCV. 6 workers in total. Good damage dealt here by HeRoMaRinE. And behind this is going straight into additional Cyclone production. Let's go. Cyclone's on the way. We're not done. Oh my god. We had 6 kills. We go up to 9. 9 SCV kills for 1 Cyclone. We got a Hellion. We disrupted the mining. We scouted the 3rd. And Spirit is quite vulnerable. Spirit is very vulnerable at the moment. So HeRoMaRinE, he knows that. He's aware. And Gabe is going to keep the pressure up. Moving out with more Cyclones. There's 1 tank on the high ground. I believe a tank on the low ground as well. We do have a disable. Water turret is thrown down. Ooh, that was a brutal push there from HeRoMaRinE. Yeah, it wasn't quite worth it. He wasn't expecting the tank on the high ground. Did lose too much. Spirit is holding. He's surviving. Now, as the dust does settle, we find ourselves in a really similar position to game number 1. Where this time, Spirit is down in workers. I spoke too soon. Oh my god. I spoke too soon. Boys are being pulled. 4 SCVs go down. Spirit is still down in workers, but not as much as Gabe was last game. So we can try to recover. The Raven's still alive outside the main. Spirit, he's hunting for it. Looking for that Raven. We'll come across it. The game will settle from here. Remember, Spirit already has his 3rd orbital up and running. He's going to be able to make 3 SCVs at a time. Gabe was also working on his own 3rd. Actually going to be landing his own 1st. Okay. I mean, Gabe does have map control, Spirit doesn't. So despite the faster 3rd base, Gabe is able to get his own up and running. He's able to get his own a little bit faster. Raven goes down for the cost of a Cyclone. Another Raven on the left-hand side. Now going to be settling into this. A nice catch there by Spirit as Gabe was late to react. Losing every single Cyclone. And now we can land our 3rd. Now because of the faster 3rd base here from HeRoMaRinE, he does extend his worker lead once again. So economically, Gabe, he's still ahead. Is still very much so ahead here. Building up his tank count, looking at the unit tab. Gabe, ooh, down in tanks. Spirit has a much more threatening army. Indifference Matrix has been researched. Spirit, he has potential. A lot of potential with this push. He could force his way into the natural, but he is being spotted. Clutch scout there by Gabe. And he will pull back. Pulls back, he's getting in position. SCVs are going down. Gabe going for a jump across the map at the same time. Getting full worker kills. Shouldn't deny the E-Bays, but does deny mining time. Again, Gabe extending his lead is up to 70 workers. Oh my god. Just a massive lead here for HeRoMaRinE, and Spirit, he has to make something happen. He has to push in, gets a kill on a tank, goes to the mineral line. damage is being dealt at the same time they're losing SCVs in the main. We have to keep pushing. It's gonna be a kill on the CC. Every single SCV goes down. Gabe still ahead in workers, which is crazy. Still ahead. That goes to show how far behind Spirit was. Now we have to push in. As the drop play does continue. And we have the disables. We do get the first 2 tanks. And Gabe is going to be able to break through this position. Tanks slowly go forward. Take down 2 more of those tanks, and Spirit is being forced back. And now Gabe, he's the one who has the pressure on him to counterattack. Did lose the 3rd base. I believe didn't have a 4th. Yeah, there was no 4th base in production. Spirit now making use of his 3rd is getting ahead in the economy. That lead that HeRoMaRinE had the entire game is now gone, and he's going for a doom job. Going for the doom job, past the 3rd base, into the main. Ooh, and Spirit, he's out of position. A very late reaction here as he tries to find his way into the main base. Goes for a big stim. Boys are being pulled, and Spirit, he can collapse on this. Up the tanks. He does get every single tank. Gabe, he drops down towards the 3rd base. But Spirit is keeping up. And Spirit does hold. Spirit also resets the tank count. He killed every single tank in the main. Spirit not looking too bad. Looking to be in a good position. HeRoMaRinE, he's, oh my god. I was like, is he pulling the boys? No, he's landing his main base over towards the 3rd location. That's how brutal the position is for him. How far behind he is in the economy. Meanwhile, the Marines are breaking through. Yeah, not enough Marines for Spirit. He does get on top of the tanks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Every single tank goes down. And Gabe, has he barely done it? He breaks through towards the 3rd. And can he be stopped with the rallying reinforcements with his 1 tank in the back line? Every single SCV goes down. If he cripples the economy here at the 3rd base, it goes towards the natural. Boys are being pulled, but it looks like Gabe has too much. He has done it. We are tying up the series. From behind, you do get a tank, but GG gets called. 40 SCVs go down, and Gabe ties up the series 1-1. GG. GG, well played. That was a little bit scary, I'll be honest. Spirit somehow clawed his way back in. He was able to kill a mineral line. He was able to kill a base. Despite the fact that Gabe was so far ahead in this game, he had lost that lead and things were looking dire, especially after the failed doom drop into the main base. Spirit was almost able to really close it out then and there. He just needed more time. He needed a little bit more time to actually muster up a supportive army for his tanks. He needed more Marines, and in that period where there was a window to abuse him, to take advantage of him, Gabe pushed in. He pushed in, reset the tank count, GG. Honestly, if he had waited any longer, I feel like Spirit would have taken that game 100%. Like, Spirit was so far ahead there and just needed a little bit more time. But with that, we find ourselves in the ace match. Let's go. We're getting into our next game. And we're getting into game 3. As we get into game 3, a big shout out to Control in the chat. Annyeong haseyo. Thank you so much for the raid. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great ladder session. And welcome everyone to the ace match of this TvT. And again, we have been going over some of the replays of IEM Katowice, some of the games that did happen off the mainstream. So we're just catching up on those matches. And here we go, spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Hardled, we have our German Terran player representing Team Mouse. It is HeRoMaRinE. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Terran player, the Polish Terran representing Team Na'Vi. It is Spirit. Go. So we are going to be settling in. And as we get into this ace match, HeRoMaRinE once again going double gas. Going for a double gas opener. Meanwhile, on the main base, Spirit going for a Rax expand. We have been switching back and forth. We've kind of been handing off the more economic builds back and forth here between our players. Both of them have tried it once each. And we'll see if Spirit can get away with this, as we are loading into Hardled, a much more aggressive map, a smaller map in the map pool, the smallest even, or the shortest rush distance map in the map pool. So we'll see if we can get away with this. As for now, Spirit getting his CC on the low ground, HeRoMaRinE going for that factory instead. And this can lead into mass Cyclone play. As we have seen in the past, these Cyclones, they can do a devastating amount of damage early on. It can be brutal. As our first Reapers do get across the map, Spirit does shoot first. The Spirit is going to be able to force Gabe back. So far, a good start here for our red Terran. Gabe behind this is not going for a reactor after the... Interesting. Okay, he's not going for a reactor after the second Reaper. He's going Mass Reaper Hellion. This is a more old school build, but amassing Reapers and Hellions. He's going to have an abundance of units early on. His goal here is to break into the mineral line to get some economic damage done and snowball out of control. We'll see if he can. As he should be pushing with, what, 3 Hellions and, sorry, 3 Reapers and 2 Hellions. Never mind, does cut production at 1 Hellion. Okay. Is pushing in a little bit earlier. Is moving in. A good reaction at the Spirit. He does pull his SCVs away. Oh! Does preserve his workers. And with that Spirit, he will defend. Behind this, getting into his 1-1-1, amassing Marines. And it looks like he's going to be skipping his medevac, going straight into Raven production. There we go. The first Raven is on the way for Spirit. We'll force back the army. And Gabe going for that faster tank. This is how he did play against Gumiho, if you do recall. Went single Cyclone into faster tank production. Likewise, Spirit also going into tanks as well. We're not really embracing the Cyclone phase here of TvT, thankfully. Going into tanks instead. Spirit was supplied low for quite some time, though. That's brutal. That is an entire tank, an extra tank that HeRoMaRinE will have. At the same time, immediately does go for that third CC. Very reminiscent of Spirit last game. So a very fast third here out of Gabe. And we'll see if Spirit can get a read on this. He needs to either respond with aggression or respond with his own fast third. Speaking of, there it is. Third base is on the way for both players being economic. We shouldn't be too overly aggressive here in the early game then, and we're going to be easing our way into 3 bases. Here we go. go, as we do have Stim on the way. We haven't really embraced any kind of mech yet tonight. After this, we are going to be going over Gumiho versus Spirits, and there is potential for mech there. I mean, I'm thankful for it. It is just bio play non-stop between both players, bio tank at least. And again, we are just going to be settling into that. Spirit is the first to move out. Looks like he wants to at least take control of the Zelnagas. HeRoMaRinE does spot the army. He is aware. As the army moves out, Gabe moves in, and he will get quite a bit of damage done here. Gets one worker already. Let's get one SCV. Dives into the main base and gets a full scout as well. Oh. Get a second worker here at the natural. A third in the main. Meanwhile, Spirit hasn't quite committed yet. Again, he was spotted and Gabe is ready for it. God, that Reaper's still alive? Oh my god. Finally, it's going to be going down. We get 6 worker kills. Oh my god. Far more than ever should have happened. 6 workers do go down. Spirit, he does pull back home. What do we have to work with? We have an even Raven count. Spirit is ahead in overall tanks. Interference Matrix is researched as well for both players as third bases are being taken. But yeah, I'm a little bit surprised. Spirit, despite getting the fast tank production, he hasn't made a single tank in quite some time. Spirit only has... Oh wait, sorry, my mistake. Despite the earlier tank production from HeRoMaRinE is what I meant to say. HeRoMaRinE hasn't really been keeping up his tank production, only has 2. Despite starting tanks at around the same time or even earlier than Spirit. Did catch me by surprise. We are getting back in. Spirit, as a result, has a big tank lead. Gabe threatening a drop. Has a second army on the right-hand side. Doesn't get eyes on all those tanks. Going for the disables. Yeah, big anti-armor sword as well. The army, every single tank is disabled. Oh my god. And without any tanks, HeRoMaRinE, he is pushing in. Order's hearts have been thrown down. Ooh, and it looks like Spirit, he barely holds on. Barely does hold this location, but lost 13 SCVs in the process, and we are within range of the CC. Yeah, the base is under fire. The CC, it's going to have to lift. At the same time, we have a Liberator across the map. Getting one worker kill, but not much else. CC has to lift up. Now, Gabe did lose all of his Ravens in that dive. It was a costly trade for him. And there we go. He unsieges, he backs up. Takes his economic lead and will retreat. Meanwhile, Spirit gonna commit to a counterattack. The one advantage that Spirit has here is he retained his Ravens, so he does have disables. Gabe doesn't. So he can take a fight. We see Spirit rotating towards the center. He is spotted by Gabe. And Gabe, he doesn't turn around. We're going for a base trade. Uh-oh. The Terran players are committing. Spirit turns back around. And Gabe, he has the high ground. He's able to outposition his opponent, but we have some big disables going off. And tanks are going down. Gabe, he has to commit, and as he retreats, we'll lose every single tank. And we'll lose up. We'll lose every tank in the process. At the same time, though, Spirit, his own tanks are exposed. No, we leave the tanks behind. As Gabe loses 5 tanks, Spirit also loses 5. GG gets called. That's all he had left. Barely any Marines, and HeRoMaRinE will take the series at 2-1. GG. Who really caught who? As at first one player loses all their tanks, then the other. Again, Spirit unfortunately didn't have much else behind it to actually defend. He lost all of his Marines earlier, or had a very low Marine count to begin with. And with that surround, HeRoMaRinE snowballs out of control. GG, well played. We'll take the series 2-1. GG. And again, HeRoMaRinE looking quite strong here. I mean, I say that it was a back and forth and it was a chaotic series against Spirit, but HeRoMaRinE was able to 2-0 Gumiho earlier, and with that, does come out on top here in these TvTs. Meanwhile, we have our final TvT of the night, Gumiho and Spirit. Spirit lost to Gabe. Gumiho also lost to Gabe as well. Both of these players have nothing but losses on the board. They need a win. They will get one. But who comes out on top?